Call to order the meeting of the Pasadena Independent School District Board of Trustees in regular session on Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023, in the boardroom of the Administration Building, 1515 Cherrybrook Lane, Pasadena, Texas, at 5:30 sharp p.m. Board members present: Mr. Marshall Kendrick, Ms. Nelda Sullivan, Ms. Crystal Davila, Mr. Kenny Fernandez, Ms. Paola Gonzalez, and me, Casey Phelan. Board members absent: Ms. Vicki Morgan. Invocation today will be given by Ms. Nelda Sullivan and the pledges by Marshall Kendrick.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we do thank Thee for the many blessings of this day. We ask that You would be with us as we conduct the business of this district. We pray that You would be with our teachers and all of our staff. Give them the wisdom and the courage that they need to follow the lead that's best for our students. We ask that You would be with the leaders of our country, dear Father. We pray that decisions that are positive might be made. Be with those who protect our country. Lead and guide and direct them. We ask that You would keep us ever in the center of Thy will. And these things we ask in Thy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Let the record indicate that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting is duly called, and that notice of this meeting was posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We have public comments according to policy BED local related to items on the open session portion of the agenda. There are none. We'll now adjourn to closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.074 for the purpose of considering the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassessment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear complaints of charges against a public officer or employee, unless the individual who is the subject of the deliberation or hearing requests a public hearing concerning matters related to the superintendent's recommendations to hire administrative personnel and/or superintendent's recommendations related to renewal, non-renewal, and terminations of contracts for professional personnel. 551.071, to consult with district attorneys concerning matters on which the attorney's duties to the district under the Code of Professional Responsibility clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meetings Act, to seek advice of its attorneys about pending or contemplating litigation or a settlement offer, and/or consider legal advice regarding items specifically listed on the agenda. 551.072, for the purpose of discussing the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. 551.071, 551.074, and 551.0821 for the purpose of considering and/or seeking the advice of the district's attorney regarding a mediation agreement in ISV, Pasadena ISD, Texas Education Agency docket number 304 SE 0523, and related actions. We'll reconvene soon. We're going to reconvene in open session at 7:01 p.m. We're going to start out with special recognition. We have no special recognition. Next month. Consent agenda. Consideration and possible approval of administrative personnel.
Mr. President, I move that we approve addenda items A through G.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Sullivan. Any discussion? Sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Gonzalez.
Okay. I would like to introduce Hala Basari. You here? Hello.
You can stand. Thank you.
Ms. Basari has been approved for the position of speech language pathologist. Congratulations. Do you have anyone here with you today?
And my fellow classmates and special ed team.
Good.
Oh, congratulations. Next is Alyssa Carrico. Oh.
They're getting up over there.
So Ms. Carrico has been approved for the position of speech language pathologist. Congratulations. Any family, friends?
Just my classmates and special ed.
All right. right. Thank you guys for coming to support. Karina Flores. Hello. Ms. Flores has been approved for the position of speech language pathologist. Congratulations. Any family or friends here? Awesome. Congratulations. Paola Serrano. Yay! Beautiful name. Ms. Serrano has been approved for the position of speech language pathologist. Congratulations. Do you have any family or friends? Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
I'll read all that.
Cindy Elizondo. Ms. Elizondo has been approved for the position of assistant principal at Miller Intermediate. Congratulations. Well, I know you have fans here, family, friends.
I do. My husband Lisa, my son Jacob, my parents, my sisters, my former administrators, my other family.
Just everybody.
Not physically here with us, but I know he's here in spirit, my grandfather.
Congratulations.
I'm very fitting the dress, but I do want to point out, Jacob, stand up. Look at this.
Oh, look at that. Looking sharp. All right, now Tia Rutherford. Ms. Rutherford has been approved for the position of assistant principal at Miller Intermediate. Congratulations. Any family or friends here?
My husband Scott, my son Jake, my daughter Lainey, my other daughter couldn't be here, but lots of good friends and Miller family.
Awesome. Congratulations. And Sandra Garcia Hune. Hello. Ms. Garcia Hune has been approved for the position of general counsel. We're happy to have you. Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Any family friends?
My daughter-in-law, Cardi.
Great. Welcome to Pasadena ISD. We're happy to have you.
Correct. Congratulations to everyone. We're going to backtrack here for a second to the consent agenda item. I have a motion by Marshall Kendrick, seconded by Nella Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
If you want to let them sneak out.
Sure. You don't have to stay. We would love for you to stay, but those of you that were here for the special recognition, by all means, you're more than welcome to go. We'll give you a couple minutes to slip out one of our side doors. Thank you, and congratulations to everybody.
Right.
They weren't here when we left it.
No, they weren't. There's 3 people.
They snuck in, didn't they?
I'm testing y'all. So far, y'all are doing good. We're right on track.
Yeah,
Keeping you out of trouble.
Sorry.
That's right.
He did the personnel before.
Yes, okay.
That's why we went back to do it.
You're doing great.
I read about it. I read part about your kid.
So it's not just me. Okay, I'll take it. Right, yeah. Okay, y'all. So consideration possible approval of additional funding for PISD medical plan and authorized for superintendent to add additional funds to ensure PISD medical plan ends the fiscal year with a positive balance.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Marshall Kendrick. Any discussion?
So board members, as you know, when we audit at the end of the year, we can never have a negative balance in our health fund. So we always ask for additional funds, not to say we'll use them all, but we do know that looking at things right now without the rebates we've normally get at certain times and things of that nature, we would need some additional funding. So we do have a representative from Gallagher here, Derek Ito. I think I say that wrong every time. So close, but so far away. So Derek would love to answer your questions, or I can, but of course, this is nothing you're unfamiliar with. It's much better. We're still moving in the right direction, looking at making sure we take care of our employees at the same time keeping our costs down.
So
Absolutely.
does that money stay there?
So if we do not use the funds, Ben, do you want to answer that one? In other words, if we only use half, or let's say we only use 800,000 of the 1.5, where does that additional money go? Stays in the health fund?
Yeah, so good evening, Board of Trustees. So what will happen is during final audit and everything settles through August, we'll know the exact number to transfer over to the health fund, which we're hoping is less than 1.5 million. And then the remaining amount would not get transferred over. It'd actually stay in the general operating fund as fund balance for a later date.
It
I have a
doesn't stay
question.
in that health.
Once we transfer it over, it can stay. But if we transfer just enough to make it positive, then we keep that there, and the amount we didn't transfer stays in the general operating fund.
Okay.
Is this a typical amount? I can't remember.
It's
This is a
actually
lot
lower.
lower than last
Oh,
year.
lower. Okay.
About a third of what we transferred last
I
year.
couldn't recall. Thank you.
What if this is not enough?
We do have it worded to where it's delegated to the superintendent, and if it were to exceed 1.5 million, we would come back to the board and inform you of that amount.
Will we have enough time before the cutoff?
Yes, that's why we delegated to the superintendent tonight, because we need to do it and have that authority before August 31st.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. For information only, we have certified personnel for the 2023-2024 school year and for support personnel for the 2023-2024 school year. Moving on to the educational section. Portrait of a graduate spotlight, Ms. Tracy Powell.
She is coming up.
She's trucking up here.
We thought this was a good way to start off the school year with our focus on Portrait of a Graduate, so.
Well, good evening, Board and Dr. Powell.
I'm thrilled to be with you tonight to share our focus for this year and our board spotlight on the Portrait of a Graduate. So our focus for this year is going to be on effective communicator. And so I want to share a little bit about that. But I want to start here and just ground us in our why, and the work that we do here in Pasadena it always starts here with our mission and vision. And our portrait is really just enhances this work, and it's beautifully aligned to the outcomes we have for our students, especially when we want our students to become accomplished, self-directed, collaborative, lifelong learners. And so, we have just a little bit of time to get our kids ready for the world and with the skills that they need to be successful. And so we are really guaranteeing that we're going to work with our kids from pre-K all the way through high school to become self-directed learners, innovative thinkers, engaged collaborators, global citizens, and effective communicators. And so if you look at the research out there, that when we're looking at the top skills that employers are seeking for now, communication, leadership, personal learning and mastery, collaboration, and achievement focused are some of those things. And you can see all of these attributes really manifesting in our Portrait of a Graduate. And most of the time, communication is either number one or number two as far as those skills that employers are seeking. So we're excited to focus on that attribute this year and really help our students just get better at being communicators. So there's 3 tools that our teachers and students will use to get better at being an effective communicator, and they're aligned elementary to high school. So there's a one-pager, and I believe you all have a copy of these. So there's a one-pager that just captures all of the attributes on one page. And then for every attribute, there's an I can statement that's student-facing. It's in student-friendly language for our students so that they can understand what it really means to be an effective communicator. And then our teachers have progressions so that they can understand how to get students all the way to the mastery level of that attribute. And so we'll be using these tools this year to really align and serve our students in this capacity. So I'm going to ask you all just to take a few seconds and think of a person, maybe it's someone in your life or a celebrity or a historical figure or a character that embodies being an effective communicator. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to think of that person. So I bet the person that you thought about was really a great advocate for themselves and for other people, and that they expressed their thoughts through writing and speaking with academic vocabulary and appropriate tone, and also that they listen and engage with diverse audiences respectfully and respond appropriately. And these are some of the skills that we want to just really give our students an opportunity to get good at this year. And really what being an effective communicator also means academically is that they're preparing for STAR 2.0 items where students are having to respond in writing a lot more than they used to. And for our multilingual students, an opportunity to really excel at TELPAS. And so we're going to be really focusing in on this and giving our students lots of opportunities to practice this skill with feedback. So how are we going to support our teachers and our students? Well, for our teachers and coaches, we're going to continue incorporating portrait in all of our PD opportunities that we have at the district level, and also embed this work inside our curriculum. So that might look like effective communicator being tied to specific outcomes in PD sessions. Or you might see a specialist tying effective communicator to an instructional strategy that a teacher might use. And also really pointing out in the curriculum where students have an opportunity to get better at being an effective communicator. And then, of course, for our leaders, we'll continue to spotlight Portrait of a Graduate at instructional leadership and give them an opportunity to share across campuses about how they're highlighting this work and all of the great things that are happening across campuses so that they can share and just get better. And so just to close out with you all and to tie into our theme this year, we're excited to believe, invest, and achieve in this work around Portrait of a Graduate so our students leave us prepared for the world that they are going to live in. So thank y'all for your time tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Tracy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to just Police and Emergency Management Spotlight. Chief Russell.
With safety being our #1 priority, we thought it was also appropriate to start with this for the year's spotlight. So just a little update from Chief. I know you've heard from him in previous spotlights, but we wanted to give you just an update of what our department has been up to.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. Our little slideshow behind will show some of our officers and some of the great things that they enjoy doing. Wow, our department was formed in September 17th of 1981. That's almost 42 years ago that our department was formed. It's hard to believe that it's been in existence this long. On that night, the board swore in our first 2 police officers, Chief Lee Oliver and Louis Enderby. Since that time, the department has grown to 34 officers. We also have currently 3 officers that are in the police academy. 2 of them are going to graduate October 31st, and then the other one, she will graduate in February. In addition to the 34 police officers, we have 6 dispatchers. We have a records clerk and a crossing guard manager. She manages the 86 crossing guards that service 47 of our schools in our district with crossing guards. Again, just an amazing job that the crossing guards do for our kids to be out there every day in the weather conditions and the schedules that they work. Lee Oliver, as our first chief, set the first cornerstone of our department, and that's service to the school district. And that's what these pictures always show to me. It's service to the school district. It's being a good role model. It's being there to help. It's being there to show the kids that we're not the bad guys and girls, that we are there to help. And that was Chief Oliver's, that was his big thing, was service to the school district above everything else. Our second chief, I've been proud to have been hired by Chief Oliver and worked for Chief C.L. Ellis, came in 1996. Chief Ellis kind of set the second cornerstone of our department. And that cornerstone was to always prepare and be ready for the worst. Whatever you can think of as the worst thing, you need to be prepared for it to deal with it. And that mindset, and that came before even the terrible events in Littleton, Colorado, and at Columbine High School in 1999. Chief Oliver was already preaching that and setting us on that course back in 1996. He equipped us, he provided the equipment, he provided the training, but most importantly, he provided the mindset that even a single officer can make a difference. And unfortunately, we all saw what can also happen when that one single person doesn't stand up and take leadership and move forward and take charge of the situation through their training and through their knowledge and protect the kids that we're here for. That was Chief Ellis's number one thing is, we're here, we have the training, we have the equipment, we are here to put ourselves in harm's way to protect the kids and the students and teachers of this school district. And he was a great man to serve. I've been very fortunate that I've served under both of them. Even today, that mindset is still with us, that we prepare, we train. The officers know from the hiring process what is expected of them if something horrible should happen. They know that they are who is supposed to be in the way and prevent any danger or harm coming from any of our kids. So, in addition to this training, our department also provides training. This last year, we provided training at 24 of our schools in the ALICE program. That was almost at 27 campuses, it was 2,400 employees that received training in ALICE. We also provided training in school-based law enforcement to 70 officers from our surrounding agencies. That is the training that they need to be able to work in our schools. That is training on mental health, that is training on special needs, that is training that school administrators are the first line, that everything isn't a crime. A lot of times kids behave like kids and they make kid decisions. So it's a 3-day class to kind of accustom them to what expectations are whenever they're serving in a school district. So I am very proud of our officers. I really like this last one from the trail ride. Juan Cruz, whenever he heard that we'd been doing this for a couple of years, he came to me 2 summers ago and said, "Hey Chief, you know I got 6 horses." I'm like, "Really? I had no idea you had 6 horses." He's like, "Is there any way I might be able to participate in the trail ride?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, bring it on. That'd be great to see you up there." So I think that's a great picture. So we are also very blessed with not only the men and women that serve our department as police officers, we're very blessed to have such great relationships with our surrounding agencies. Precinct 2, Jerry Garcia, Phil Sandlin at Precinct 8, Chief Bruger at Pasadena. It's just City of South Houston, just all of them are great partners in this. Again, Pasadena has provided police officers in the schools in Pasadena for the first 2 weeks of school to kind of help transition the kids in the community into saying, welcome back, and this is a safe place, and we're happy to have you. So we're very happy that those other agencies have joined in and welcoming everybody back, and we're excited to start a new school year. So I just want you to know that we're here, and if there's anything we can do for any of the schools or any of the community, we're here and we're ready. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Consider,
I have
go ahead.
a statement more so. I wish you could have had this video of, I forgot what officer it was, but it was at my daughter's volleyball game last year. Afterwards, one of the police officers stopped what he was doing and went out and played catch with a handful of kids. And that's just how you bring, and it wasn't elementary school, it was high school kids, and they were just having the best time of their lives. I wish you had that video. In fact, I have it somewhere. I'll find it and I'll send it to you. But that's just the camaraderie that you guys have. And speaking of camaraderie, it was years ago, we had a school that needed some help. Maintenance went out and did some extra work, and you guys had hamburgers and hot dogs for them a couple of days later. And I was just like, man, that's what you do. That's how you do it.
Our service departments in this district, we're so lucky. The men and women at transportation, operations, maintenance, our food service, it's our tech service, everybody. We're kind of behind the scenes, but it is amazing the work that they do. And in that case, I believe it was operations. We were thrilled to be able to provide some hamburgers and camaraderie and just a good time with them. Because in this terrible hot weather that we have, you know who's out there. And you know who's out there mowing the lawns, and you know the custodians are making sure things are clean and that we keep everything rolling. And everybody knows I grew up in this district. It's home to me, and we're a big family, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Your leadership, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Anyone else? Anybody? Anybody else? Okay. Consideration of possible approval of the interlocal agreement between the Pasadena Independent School District and Region 4 to provide Texas Student Data Systems, TSDS, and PEAMS support services for the amount of $5,750.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and possible approval for the interlocal agreement with Region 4 Education Service Center, ESC4, for the renewal purchase of OnData Suite software in the amount of $29,235.60.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and possible approval of general waivers from the Texas Virtual School Network's course review process for Pasadena virtual school courses.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Consideration and possible approval of Advice Texas contract and MOU agreement for 2023-2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Marshall Kendrick, seconded by Nelda Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and possible approval of the 2023-2024 Environmental Defense Fund Grant Award in the amount of $20,192 and approval of the corresponding EDF grant agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Any discussion?
Got some
Yeah.
of our friends here from the high school.
Nice. I just have a request that when students do their presentations, because I know they're going to be presenting, it's going to be a community event, that we be invited, because this is my type of stuff, and I would love to see students presenting.
This is really exciting, so congratulations.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and possible approval of the contract between Pasadena ISD and the Avondale House in the amount of $287,400 for tuition and educational services for special education students.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
How many
That was my question. Go ahead.
students does this cover?
I'm going to bring up Miss LeBlue, and she'll come up, and it's a small list, but give you an exact number.
You know where the microphone is. You sit all the way over on the other side.
She was hoping.
I was hoping, right? Hi, I'm sorry. So what was your question?
How many?
How many students? Right now, we have 4 students.
Okay, is this about normal? You start off with 4?
No, sir. Usually it's a lot larger, but last year, after Avondale was on the unapproved list, we were able to find other places for our students to go. But some students, their needs are truly met best at Avondale.
And will you share about getting back on the approved list, a little bit about
Yes,
that?
thank you.
Yes. So actually, this week, we were notified that they were on the limited approval list. What that means is that TEA has assigned a monitor, which is actually one of our neighboring districts. And so they will be regularly monitoring all of the students and all of the day-to-day procedures at Avondale House, as well as last year, we sent one of our staff members every single day that we had students there. And so TEA has told us that we did a great job. And so this year, we only have to send a staff member one time a week, but we have thrown in a few days to where we'll be unannounced visits. And then we will also be submitting documentation to TEA about our visits when we're there.
Well, hopefully we won't be put back in that position, because I think if anyone needs stability, these kids need the stability.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and possible approval of the contract between Pasadena ISD and Presence Learning in the amount of $588,676.11 for speech language pathologist services.
So moved.
Motion by Marshall Kendrick,
Second.
second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the contract between Pasadena ISD and ProCare Therapy in the amount of $359,784 for speech language pathologist services.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the 2023-2024 Memorandum of Understanding between Pasadena Independent School District and the Harris Center for Mental Health and Intellectual Development Disability, IDD. Each subsequent term shall automatically renew September 1 and end August 31st of each successive year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kendrick, seconded by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion?
So we've had this in place for about 20 years, but this will automatically renew once you approve this. So we're just letting you know we use this with students within our district.
So it won't come back for,
Is that correct, Ms. Gallegos? It would not come back for approval unless something changed within the agreement.
But at any point, we can terminate. They could or we could.
I have a question.
Ms. Gonzalez?
How is there no financial implication?
Sorry?
How is there no financial implication for this service?
I started to sit at the front, but
Thank
on
you,
down.
Ms.
Get your
Gallegos.
steps in.
All right, the agreement, well, if I can speak, that we have had for them for a number of years is we provide the facilities and the housing, and then they bring in their clinicians and their doctors, their psychiatrists. And they used to be housed at Gardens Elementary for a long time, and then we moved them to the Tegler site, and they have been there for the last 15 years or so.
Okay. Wow. Okay, thank you. Maybe I knew that, I forgot. How many students are served by this?
I knew you were going to ask that. So we have 185 clients.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You want to know what kind of services?
Sure, go ahead.
She brought some notes.
Yeah, well, you have to, it's like you can't memorize all this stuff. They do psychiatric services, cognitive behavior therapy, skilled training to the clients and their parents. They do case management, family partner services, and they also do it in-house, and then they also go to the homes to be able to work with the parents as well.
Wow, and that's across the district?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
so this is donated time.
It's through the Harris Center. I mean, and they have deep pockets to be able to do that.
Well, great.
It's a technical term.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Gallegos. I appreciate your time.
Any other questions for her?
That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Laura.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next section is for information only, the selection of Canvas instructor as K through 12 learning management systems. We'll move on to the financial section.
So I was just going to say about this, we did not have to bring this forward or include it in the book. The Canvas structure is a K through 12 learning management system, so it's pre-K through 12 platform. We have had multiple different ones, and we've had some of you even ask, why can't we have one? And this is what we're going to go toward. It'll be a 3-year implementation. A lot of our surrounding districts use this and have good feedback. We had a committee. We spent a lot of time. Kudos to Melissa and her team for going through the process and hearing from teachers and administrators and central office folks about the user friendliness of this, but also the different facets. So we're going to have Parent Square, correct? And Canvas, and you're going to see us use that across the district at all grade levels. So even though we didn't need to bring this, I wanted to bring it. And the reason we didn't need to is because it's on a bid list, but I wanted you to be aware, because this is going to be really great for our district.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Man, I'm looking at the contact person list. This is an all-star cast here.
It's like a power.
I know.
Yeah.
On to the financial section. Consideration and possible approval of budget amendment for July 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Consideration and possible approval of GASB 54 fund balance resolution.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Mr. Kendrick. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This is also for information only. We are required to discuss the impact of property value change. This indicator is number 20 on the first report.
So I feel like we're going to invite Mr. Poppy up, because if we're going to discuss something financially, it's always good to have him around. So what would you like to share with us about the property value discussion?
Yeah, so this is a requirement that came into the School First program about 3.5 years ago, following House Bill 3 in 2019. And with maintenance and operations compression of the tax rate, then we want to talk about property values. They continue to go up every year. You can see the numbers on the tax roll, 19 billion last year, and then it's 22 billion this year. And then we also have continuous compression from House Bill 3 from 2019. Then also Senate Bill 2 that just recently went through in the 88th legislative session that will be on the general election in November, will compress an additional 10.7 cents. So we see continuous compression, which shifts the collections from the local level to the state level. And then property values continue to go up every year, and then that shifts back to the local level. And then I'm sure we'll see another legislation 4 or 5 years to shift it back to the state, and we'll go back and forth every 4 to 6 years. So any questions on property value? Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Operations section. Consideration and possible approval of the purchase of real property at 1107 Satsuma Street, Pasadena, Texas, Satsuma Place Section 1, and action authorizing the superintendent to negotiate and execute all documents necessary to finalize the purchase.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Yes? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and possible approval of allowance expenditure authorization, AEA number 09, for the HVAC upgrade Group 1 project in the credit amount of $11,000.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Mr. Kendrick. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will take the credit. Consideration.
Really?
Consideration and possible approval of allowance expenditure authorization, AEA number 019, for the Guidance Center conversion to nutrition services project in the credit amount of $13,291.11.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion?
Dr. Powell, how are we coming along on this?
So, as crazy as it may sound, they may beat us in being out of this building. So it looks like an October move for them. And that's right in line with many of our departments that'll be transitioning. So it worked out in the sense of timeline, but as you know, ours is much delayed. So it looks like October, Kevin, is that not correct? On schedule.
And when all this is completed, we'll be able to tour it.
Yes, absolutely. We've
That's
got
great.
lots of tours to take.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of construction contract with Extra Light LED Lighting Solutions. We did.
Yes.
Lighting Solutions for the 2022 Bond Parking Lot Lighting Upgrades LED Package 2 project in the amount of $774,528.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
4
opposed?
was pulled.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Number 4 was pulled. Motion carried.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Consideration and possible approval of awards for 2022 Bond Safety and Security CSP number 23P043LP in the amount not to exceed $16,500,000 for the length of the contract, including fund balance funding of $2,400,000.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion?
I see we do have our representatives from True North here, so thank you for being here tonight. They worked with our committee. We had lots of principal input and staff input.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7 has also been pulled, so we'll move down to the construction updates. And that's for information only. Kevin, have anything to say? No. Move on to the miscellaneous section. Consideration possible approval of mediation agreement in ISD Pasadena Independent School District, Texas Education Agency docket number 012-DM-1021 and related actions.
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the mediation agreement in IS versus PISD, Texas Education docket number 304-SC-0523, and related actions as discussed in closed session.
Is that the right numbers?
Let me just clarify also, that would be, sorry, we have a number, the trustee Kendrick, that also that would encompass 012-DM-1021. Just wanted to get that as well.
Okay. Docket number 305-SC-05, both of them?
012-DM-1021.
I got that one, yeah, okay.
Yeah. We need both of them, I apologize.
That's all right. Docket number 012-DM-1021 and related actions.
Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Board.
Public comments according to VED local related to topics not listed on the agenda. 30-minute allotment. We have 3 speakers. The portion of this public comment is for speakers who are addressing topics not listed on tonight's agenda. We ask that all speakers refrain from using profane or vulgar language. Complaints about an individual student and/or employee should seek resolution through the district's grievance process outlined in the applicable Pasadena ISD board policy, DGBA, FNG, or GF. Along those lines, we ask that the speakers respect the privacy rights of others and, in doing so, refrain from naming employees and/or students during the public comments portion of the agenda. Titles may be used instead. Remember, the admission, I'll get it right, goes for positive or negative remarks. And we have 3 speakers tonight. Mr. Sebastian Sanders. Mr. Sebastian Sanders. Pastor Timothy Moore. We ran him off. And one more time, Mr. Moore? No? Miss Yen Rabe. Miss Davila, will you keep time? 3 minutes?
Good evening, board members and superintendent and fellow PISD community members. My name is Yen Rabe. I'm an educator and a concerned citizen of this Pasadena ISD community. And first I want to say that I wrote an email to all the school board members more than a month ago, and I still have not received a response to say that you've received my email. So if you've received my email, please let me know. I appreciate that. And I would like to talk about the budget that's coming up, the proposed budget. I see that there's a budget deficit again, and that is concerning. There's an decrease in spending in almost every department, including college readiness funding, and no general funds are going towards extended day programs or summer school. But on the other hand, the police is getting an increase of 62% of funding. That's at $1.2 million. Well, already we have 32 officers in the district versus 2 social workers. The National Association of Social Workers recommend 1 social worker for every 250 students. And our district has 1 social worker per 24,000 students. I think that we can do better. And yes, spending more in officers in schools will help with fewer fights. There will be less fights. robberies or threats of violence. But on the other hand, there will be more suspension, expulsions, and arrests. And these students
1 minute.
will have a run-ins with the criminal justice system in the future. And the kids that are most likely affected are Black students. And that will be a cost for all of us. So I recommend that we fund more school educational programs like foreign language, music, fine arts, and starting school later, because that will help with students' health, education, and safety. And that's something to address if you're concerned about safety, instead of funding the police, because that will only criminalize our students and rob them of their future, instead of educating them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rabe. I'm going to set the date for the next regular meeting, suggested Tuesday, September 26, 2023.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, seconded by Mr. Kendrick. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There being no further business before this board, we are adjourned at 7:44.